Babble with Ben.
This podcast is recorded on the lands of the Wurundjeri peoples of the Kulin Nation. I wish to acknowledge them as traditional owners. I would also like to pay my respects to their elders, past and present, and Aboriginal elders of other communities who may be participating today.
Welcome to The Babble. I'm your host, Ben Charlie Brown. Ross Larkin is an experienced actor, producer, scriptwriter, and a published author. Over the last 3 decades, he has appeared on stage and on screen in Australia, the UK, and the USA. In this episode, we talk about his experiences producing and starring in The Last Sunday in June, a play about friends watching a gay pride parade through their window in New York. This interview was recorded on October the 11th in the Igloo at Box Hill Institute. I hope you enjoy my podcast with Ross. Welcome to The Babble, Ross Larkin.
Thank you. Thanks, mate.
Very, very nice to have you here. We know each other through a festival called Confest, but I'm very glad to have you on the show here today to talk about your upcoming stage production called The Last Sunday in June.
That's it.
Now, we're going from 29th of October to 8th of November.
That is correct.
What can you tell me about this play?
It's a comedy drama. It's very funny and witty, and it's about a group of friends who are watching the Pride Parade from their apartment window in New York City. It's never been done in Australia before, despite the fact that it's 20 years old, and it's written by one of the co-writers from Queer as Folk. So Jonathan Tollins is his name. And
is this the American one or the UK one?
American.
American one.
Yeah.
Oh, that would make sense in Manhattan.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So Jonathan Tollins is fairly prolific as a writer, and I think he's producing stuff for TV as well these days. But it's just so curious that this show, like it's, you could call it quite an important queer show within the sort of, theatre works canon or whatever. But it's never come to Australia before. And, there's a few different theories as to why. One is that the rights were really, really hard to get. And it, usually you apply for the rights for a show and you might get them in 2 or 3 weeks, but it took like 4 or 5 months for us to get these rights. And we had to try, we were told no, like quite a few times from the usual, avenues. But we kept persisting, and so we ended up going directly to the writer, Jonathan Tollins.
Oh, wow.
We found his agent, and we dealt with them in the end, and they were able to make it happen, even though, these other sort of rights people had said no. They said to us it's not available in your region, so in Australia. But we were able to somehow bypass that little element, which we think was probably them just kind of giving an excuse because they couldn't work it out, because indeed they are available in this region and we managed to finally get them. So that could be one reason why it's never been done here. So we're really thrilled to, just be the first to bring it to Australia, because it's really worth it. Like, it's such a great show. I couldn't put it down when I first read it. It's so funny. And it's really quite different as well. It's, like people compare it to Boys in the Band and Love, Valor, Compassion, those sort of classics. But I prefer it actually to those, because I think it's a lot funnier for a start, probably more interesting and likable characters. And it's quite poignant. It's got some interesting messaging in it. And I guess at its heart, it's about authenticity and belonging and community and friendship, but then also so much more. So it's an honour to be able to produce it now.
It sounds like you having a really satisfying experience, having to go straight to the agent of the writer and then finally getting the rights. Like, that's amazing. What part do you play in the production?
Yeah, so I play, just one. Besides producer, I'm playing the role of Brad, and he's one of the funniest characters, I guess, because, comedy is my first love, and I'm very much drawn to, comic characters. He's very witty, he's a bit bitchy, but, it's all sort of with good heart he's it's kind of an ensemble piece, I guess you could say. Like there are 8 cast, and most of the characters are on stage the whole time, so it's all quite balanced. But yeah, it'll be fun to play Brad because I just love the getting out the comedy chops.
And it sounds like you've been dreaming about doing this production for some years now. Is that right?
It's not that long, actually. I only discovered it last year. And I was really surprised that I hadn't heard of it because, there is such a, it's not a resurgence, but, there's this kind of trend at the moment for queer and LGBTQIA plus shows to be getting a lot more traction or, be getting more attention. And I guess you could say they're in vogue, like there was a production of Boys in the Band earlier this year at Chapel Off Chapel, the same venue. And, this, I was amazed I hadn't heard of this. So once I did read it, I fell in love with it. And then, of course, the journey began in trying to get the rights. So yeah, it just baffles me that it's not well known here because it was successful in the US.
Well, hopefully it's a lot better known once you've done the
I hope so, yeah. It deserves to be known, yeah. It's a great show.
How did you go about assembling the team to make this happen? Because you're not only starring it, but you're producing it as well.
Yeah. And this is actually my first foray into producing something of this scale. In the past, I've produced music videos and short films and some music gigs and that sort of thing when I used to be in that scene. But this is the first, major kind of production that I've produced. So it's been daunting and, you sort of wonder if you're cut out for it. But thankfully it's been going very well. Because I was able to secure just a fantastic director and stage manager who I've worked with in the past, and they're a great sort of combination. And I've learnt so much from them because they're so experienced, and we make a really great team basically. And so then the 3 of us got together and assembled everybody else. So we got our first picks for everyone. So we got the lighting designer that we wanted. We got the sound designer that we wanted. And they're award-winning, Melbourne crew. So very lucky about that. And then with casting, we wanted to be really thorough. So we sort of cast the net pretty wide in terms of advertising for the roles. And we got, inundated with applicants. So, yeah, there was a series of self-tests where they video themselves, presenting an audition. And then we had callbacks, like group callbacks. And, yeah, just once it came time for those callbacks, when we found the right combinations, it was just, the energy in the room was just palpable, and it was so clear who the right candidates were. So they all got offered these roles and they all accepted, which was fantastic. And it shows because, rehearsals are going so well, and they're just, the synergy and the chemistry between everyone is really, really evident. So we're lucky. We're really lucky.
Did you find that it was a new experience for you to be the one choosing the cast as compared to, I imagine you've had your fair share of acceptance letters, but also knockbacks as well. So was there a feeling of going, oh, okay, this is what it's like to be on the other side?
Yeah, 100%, yeah. I've been an actor for like 25 years or whatever, so rejection is a massive part of what we do. It's like unavoidable. And you do get sick of it, and you never sort of get used to it in some respects. So, yeah, really interesting to be on the other side because you learn a lot about what not to do and what doesn't translate that well, and you see a lot of people doing the same things, the same kind of offers, like the most obvious choices, or the kind of, a lot of people did the same little idiosyncrasies to cover their nerves, or they'd lean on this post and stuff, and it was just interesting to see it from the other side, and it makes it it was validating, I suppose, because I sort of went, well, I know that I don't know, I know that I don't do a lot of that anymore, so yeah, it was helpful and a learning experience. Yeah.
So you saw yourself in the applicants for these roles, and you sort of go, aha, I remember when I did that, and I've since changed my ways?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And, a lot of people, they kind of don't offer much, and everyone that walks in the room, when you're, on that audition panel, you want people to be great. You want everyone who walks in to be amazing and to, knock it out of the park and to be the right person for that role. And I think that changes the mentality around it. If actors know that, if they know that, you're not walking in there and people wanting to judge you and condemn mistakes or whatever. They want you to be great. And that really changes things when you know that. So, but yeah, there was a lot of people that did sort of come in, and it's like, oh, come on, you can, you can offer more than that. You can rise to the occasion a bit more. You sort of see that they've got it in them, but there's something holding them back. But having said that, a hell of a lot more people just really delivered and really impressed us, and it was, really impressive.
I find in the music industry there's often a dichotomy between polish and charisma, right? And I will tend to lean towards charisma over polish in collaborators all the time. How would you feel that you sit on that fence?
I would agree with that. I'm the same. It's, I think a lot of actors beat themselves up when they make a mistake, when they fluff a line or they, forget something. And it's not about that, really. It's about the character. It's about what you're bringing in essence and charisma, as you say. That's what matters. So the polish comes later. That's what rehearsals are for. It's really what you bring, and, how interesting, how layered, how committed it is. That's the stuff that really reads well and that really shines and stands out from the rest. If you've got that kind of, you've really made that choice to be a character that's like, X, Y, and Z kind of thing.
So if you can inhabit that character, maybe if you fluff a line or two, then that's forgivable. But if you can't inhabit the character, but you've memorized all the lines, but it feels maybe more performative, you find that that's less appealing for you?
Absolutely, yeah. Because anyone can learn lines. A lot of people that haven't acted before think that learning lines is the hardest part of the job, and they say, I don't know how you can learn all those lines. And that's the easiest bit, actually. I mean, some people struggle with it, but really, that's, anyone can memorize something. It's all the other stuff that goes on behind that, in terms of the character and in terms of, how you kind of commit to that character. So yeah, I couldn't care less if you walked in and, messed up every line, basically. If you've committed to some kind of interesting character that's really, and you've made some different choices that are not really obvious, then that is, that speaks far louder than anything else. And I think when people do have that level of commitment, if they do make a mistake with the line, it doesn't get in their way. They don't stop and apologize or start again or whatever. They just keep going because they know that that's not what matters. So, yeah.
It's very much the same in music. It is drilled into us as first-year students that if you make a mistake, please don't stop the song. Please don't start the song again. Maybe there's a nod, maybe there's a little... and keep on going. Don't lose the tempo, don't lose the momentum. Because I think for stage work, right, once it's done, isn't it? It's not like it's a screen recording where you've got to stick there and get it right.
Yep.
If it's a stage thing, oh, well, you're doing it again tomorrow night. Don't dwell on it. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Some people do make the mistake of dwelling on it in the moment, and then it kind of affects the rest of their performance for that show. So it's really key to not do that, But that's the beauty of theatre, is that every show is a bit different, because the energy and the dynamic is always going to be a little bit different depending on so many factors. And mistakes do get made, even in the most long-running kind of high-caliber stage shows. Mistakes are inevitable, and it's how you respond to them. It's how you deal with it. It's how you keep going that matters. But, I love theatre so much because there is this electricity about it, and every show is really quite different. So that's the beauty of it,
As a live musician, I find that the crowd is a big part of the energy of every show that I do. Is that true for stage acting as well?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you feel the energy of the crowd, especially with comedy. Comedy's hard because, it's kind of hinging on a laughter response. And if you don't get that one night, it can throw you. And the key is to not let it throw you, of course. But comedy's most interesting because you are getting this constant sort of feedback. And it's amazing how one joke one night could get like a, enormous kind of laugh response. And then the next night, the same joke delivered perhaps, almost identically, very similarly, will not get any response, or certainly far less. And then there'll be another moment that you've never even thought was funny. Suddenly, everyone's laughing. So it's quite unpredictable, and you've got to learn to not focus on it and not, try to not let it interrupt what you're doing. But of course, it's hard because it's there and it's happening, or it's not happening, and you're like, shit. But yeah, it's interesting.
I guess the context would matter a lot as well, because if the crowd goes dead silent for a joke but is laughing their heads off during one of the more dramatic moments, then you'd kind of go, oh my goodness.
Yeah, well, that's a different story. Yeah, that's not a great sign, I wouldn't think.
We both are in agreement that perhaps charisma is better than polish, right? But have you ever had a particularly charismatic individual that shows up well in perhaps like the pre-recorded tests, right? But maybe they struggle to integrate into a group?
Yeah, that does happen. It does. It's amazing actually how some people can audition really well and then not necessarily deliver so much when it comes to the real thing. And then other people could be like really great during rehearsals, and then once there's an audience in front of them, they kind of crumble a bit. It really depends. Yeah, but it happens. It's all sorts of kind of combinations of things happen for some people. So it's pretty unpredictable.
I can imagine as a producer that those interpersonal relationships might be part of your role as well. Like, I can imagine there is some conflict resolution that you might have to deal with. There might be, people that turn up late or something like that, without naming names, of course. But
yeah, look, that's the thing about producing, I guess, is that, you kind of got to be across everything, and anything that does happen or needs attention or resolution or whatever does fall on you at the end of the day. I think I've just been very blessed, touch wood, with this show so far, in that everyone is just so, on top of their game, and also so great to be around, and everyone gets along really well. And, our director is so positive and upbeat and kind of nurturing that it's been really easy so far.
That's great, especially for your first production as well.
Tell me about it.
If you were to have a nightmare experience with your first production, you would start to wonder whether this is your thing, but I'm really happy to hear that it's all working out
Thank
really
you.
well.
So am I, because trust me, I've had my fair share of being in shows where there is more drama off stage than there is on. There's a lot of that goes on.
The cursed productions, yeah,
it's a thing.
I think everyone needs to go through one, but they shouldn't seek them out. They perhaps shouldn't make a lifestyle out of
Yeah, totally.
the cursed productions.
Totally. Yeah, I think you get good though. Once you've worked with particular types of people, hopefully you get better at spotting them early. so you can sort of avoid working with them.
And I think that I've also gotten better at spotting problematic behaviour in myself and just going, aha, I've seen what it's like to be on the receiving end of that. I'm going to go back home and I'm going to reflect on what I've done and do better next time as well.
For sure. That's like a superpower skill that a lot of people don't have. You know, the ability to self-reflect or self-awareness, it's hugely lacking in so many people. And that's, I think, at the crux of so much bad behaviour.
Yeah, no, I do journal, and for a lot of my performances, I record them as well. And, you know, very directly, this podcast, I edit my own podcast, right? So I have been very conscious of stopping myself going, and scratching my nose and like doing this and all that sort of stuff. And so, but it is nice because, I mean, the alternative is not doing it, right? And how I always feel quite privileged to even be in the music industry because I spent a long time doing 9 to 5. And I think, okay, whatever nightmares I'm going through with the current project, I'm just so glad that I'm doing it.
Yeah, that's right. It's a gift, you know, and we need more art and creativity, particularly in Australia, you know, where this sport dominates, you know, and funding is so lacking for the arts. I mean, that's partly why I was moved to produce my own show. And this is such a common theme in the Aussie, you know, acting kind of scene, is that there's so few opportunities, and those limited opportunities tend to be made available to the same kind of core group of actors over and over again. And so everyone else barely stands a chance. So it's this constant messaging of you have to do it yourself. If you want it to happen, you've got to just get up and do it yourself. And so that's why I'm doing this. You know, that's one of the main reasons, because, you know, sure, like it's competitive all over the world, but when there's such a lack of opportunity here, it becomes even more competitive, and so many people are just denied a chance at all. And so it's like the only option sometimes, unless, you know, you're extremely lucky or know all the right people, that the only option is really to just do it yourself. And I'm okay with that, because I got so tired of auditioning for, you know, crappy things that I didn't really care about, didn't really want to do, but it was all that it was going, you know, or another advert, something like that. And yeah, it just didn't satisfy me. Whereas now, when I produce my own things, I get to choose the show, I get to choose the character I want to play, I get to choose the team, the venue, all of it, you know. And the venue's a huge part of it. Oh my God, some of the shitholes that I've performed in, you wouldn't believe. So I love it. From now on, I think I'll only ever do my own stuff. I'm not going to bother unless there's some incredible opportunity that falls in my lap. I will just continue to produce and make my own choices.
Living the dream, what we all want to do.
Yeah.
Now, if we want to live the dream with you, it's called The Last Sunday in June. Now, it's happening at Chapel Off Chapel between the 29th of October and the 8th of November. Tickets on sale now?
They are.
How can people find you on the interwebs?
So the production company that I've created is called Fire Rock Productions. So our Insta is firerock.productions. There's a Facebook page as well. And my personal Insta is Ross E. Larkin. So,
Fantastic.
otherwise, tickets are available on the Chapel of Chapel website.
We'll make sure they get linked into the episode too.
Fantastic.
Cool. Thanks very much for coming on, Ross. I look forward to seeing the show.
Thank you, Ben. Thanks for having me.
Have a good one.
Yeah, you too.